What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we are going to be talking about the DC Comics character, President Superman. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this character in order to hold an intelligent conversation about them and more right now. But first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, hit that subscribe button. I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream the Blerd Cave every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So hit that bell button. That way you don't miss anything. With that out of the way, it's time to ponder the question, who is President Superman?
You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
President Superman, Kryptonian name Kal-El, human name Calvin Ellis, first appeared in Final Crisis number 7 in 2009 and was created by Grant Morrison and Doug Mahnke. Calvin Ellis comes from an Earth in the DC universe designated as Earth 23. This is a realm where most of the superheroes who operate on this planet are black. Not only that, but the world is far more diverse and representative of the world that we actually live in today. Basically, a comics gator's worst nightmare. Much like with the Superman of Earth Zero, Calvin's Krypton was destroyed, but before this happened, his parents, Jor-El and Lara, sent him away in an escape pod where he would be found by a family of meager means, but also a family rich in moral character. He would be raised to stand up for himself and others and always do what is right. And as he matured under Earth's yellow sun, he would eventually develop his Kryptonian powers. I feel like we all should know by now what Superman can do, so I won't go into all the goriest of details about Calvin Ellis's abilities, because anything that white Superman can do, Calvin Ellis can do too, only with more seasoning. This is because of his Kryptonian DNA. All Kryptonians thrive under a yellow sun, at least in most of the Earths in the DC Comics multiverse, and his powers are equal to that of any other Kryptonian who would normally thrive under those conditions, including the Superman that everybody knows. This means he has the exact same ability Clark Kent has to absorb the yellow sun's solar energy and use it to nourish and empower his own body. This, coupled with his stamina, also allows him to overexert himself indefinitely, though he still must eat and drink as well as sleep like anyone else, though this is more for psychological reasons more so than anything else. He could choose to never eat, sleep, or drink anything so long as he has yellow sun energy coursing through him. He also possesses the same enhanced senses, namely superhuman sight and hearing. This includes Superman's classic X-ray vision, and yes, this version of Superman also cannot see through lead. He can also, quotey fingers, zoom in his vision to key in on something that is farther away from him, and he can see things on a microscopic or electromagnetic level. He also possesses infrared sight. Another nifty trick of his is Clark's heat vision that can melt nearly anything. And he even has Clark's super breath that can either freeze enemies in their tracks or create hurricane-like effects. Much like Clark, Calvin can also fly by manipulating the graviton particles around him, and he can leap tall buildings in a single bound. For all the good that does anyone nowadays. Calvin also possesses the same superhuman strength that Clark does, and just like Clark's, his ability is more of a conscious will that manipulates the energy fields of the things that he interacts with. This is why Kryptonians are able to lift and carry weight without destroying it due to the laws of physics. Calvin also possesses molecularly denser skin than a human, allowing him Clark's invulnerability, whether it be high caliber bullets, extreme sudden impacts, high power energy blasts, extreme temperatures, you name it. He's also quite immune to most any and all conventional poisons and sicknesses. He also has Clark's super speed, agility, endurance, and stamina that makes him able to keep up with characters like the Flash on a certain level, but not enough to make him a speedster. This, like his strength, is based on his will. He also possesses the same perception capability as Clark that allows him to not run into walls or people, as well as see things that are moving at high speeds that the naked human eye could not. He has a typical Kryptonian's longevity, so long as he is exposed to Earth's yellow sun, or any other yellow sun for that matter. So long as he is under these conditions, he will forever appear to be in his prime. Match that with Black Don't Crack, and this guy is literally the fountain of youth. Calvin, like Clark, is also also vulnerable to kryptonite, though like most other Kryptonians, the kryptonite must be from his reality in order to affect him. So for example, Earth 3 kryptonite would not hurt Calvin Ellis. However, Earth 23 kryptonite would. He's also just as susceptible to magic as Kryptonians tend to be, though this has always been at the current Superman writer's discretion, and just like other Supermen, it's not so much that magic is a weakness or anything that he is more susceptible to than anyone else, it's more like he's just as susceptible to magic as anyone else would be. One area where Calvin and Clark differentiate is how they fight. While Clark does have some training in boxing and various alien martial arts techniques, as well as some fighting techniques that he's picked up from Batman, Clark has always been regarded as more of a brawler than anything else. That said, he's a very good brawler. Calvin is more of a boxer and was trained by his adopted father to box since he was a small child. It was actually his superior boxing skills that helped him beat Super Doomsday in combat. Now for Claro, Super Doomsday was a Superman created on an alternate Earth with the help of Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen of that reality. Albeit this version of Superman was corrupted and incredibly evil and only sought to destroy other Supermen across the multiverse. Yeah, Calvin clapped his cheek sideways. Another area where they also seem to differentiate is with Superman's super flare ability, something that Ellis has yet to use himself, though that doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to use it. Another area where Ellis shines is with his genius level intellect, his sharp, tactical, strategist mindset, and he's an ace in the leadership department. This is no surprise since he is literally the founder and leader of his Earth 23's Justice League. He's also a leader of Justice Incarnate, a multiversal Justice League. He's also the one who led the charge in Grant Morrison's Multiversity story arc where Justice Incarnate took down the Gentry to save Nix Uoten, the last Monitor at the time. Now, it's not to say Clark doesn't have any of Calvin Ellis's intellect or leadership capabilities. Clark actually does. However, Ellis uses his in a way that we don't typically see from Clark Kent. That said, Calvin is also an active president of the United States of America, where he's proven himself beyond capable of defeating supervillains, saving the world, the galaxy, the universe, as well as the multiverse, all while perfectly balancing the national budget, maintaining sound foreign policy, and great relations with other nations, and has the highest approval rating of any president in his Earth's history. It also helps that Brainiac is his personal assistant, albeit a reprogrammed Brainiac. Speaking of his presidency, some may find this controversial, but he's not opposed to using his abilities to influence other countries and foreign powers, once flying to Bialya and destroying all of their nuclear armaments when they refuse to do so themselves. This is something that Clark wouldn't necessarily do unless he was like, I don't know, the Injustice version of Superman. Calvin Ellis has a Fortress of Solitude, much like Clark, but his is referred to as Fortress Superman and has far more advanced tech than Clark's. He even posited that after his fight with Super Doomsday, the Superman of Earth 45 who died could be resurrected by the technology in the Fortress. Calvin Ellis's name is something that was likely a nod to a past storyline from Alan Moore's time writing the character, where Clark Kent used the name Calvin Ellis as an alias. And as you may have already figured out, the name Calvin Ellis itself is just his Kryptonian name, Kal-El, in a more human format. Speaking of names, other than Superman, Calvin is typically referred to as President Ellis or President Superman. It's probably little surprise to anyone, but Calvin Ellis is confirmed by creator Grant Morrison to be inspired by President Barack Obama and Muhammad Ali, even going as far as to say they are basically Barack Obama meets Muhammad Ali. This is also made even more interesting since Muhammad Ali once fought Superman in the heyday in All New Collector's Edition number C56. Oddly enough, this is not the first Black Superman, as some may think. He is actually the third Black Superman, filing in after Sunshine Superman, who was created in 1990, and Superman of Earth D, who was created in 1999. He would not be the last Black Superman, though. A fourth Black Superman also exists, artist Val Zod of Earth 2, who was created in 2014. Interesting sidebar is that some people do have a tendency to mix up Val Zod with Calvin Ellis, but a telltale way to know which one is which is to look at their color schemes. Calvin Ellis tends to maintain a somewhat more traditional looking Superman costume, but with the Superman emblem's colors reversed to showcase a yellow S over a red shield, while Val Zod's costume ditches the yellow in Superman's traditional garb for white and silver, showcasing a white cape and boots and a silver S over a red shield. Despite appearing in multiple storylines where he would potentially cross paths with Clark Kent proper, they wouldn't formally meet up until Peter Tomasi's run on Superman, where both would be abducted, as well as multiple other Supermen from across the multiverse, and depowered while being forced to work in a mine. These two Supermen would come together and lead a resistance against their would-be captors. Let's get into some media appearances. While this isn't actually Calvin Ellis appearing in any official capacity in the CW, he does make an appearance in the form of an Easter egg, where a poster can be seen in Naomi Season 1, Episode 3, titled 0 to 60, where you can see the comic book cover for Infinite Frontier #1, which features Calvin Ellis on the cover. He's never appeared in any media outside of comics in any official capacity, but this almost became incredibly close to being a reality when talks between Superman actor Henry Cavill and Warner Media seemed to break down after the release and negative reception of Joss Whedon's Justice League film. Rumors began circulating left and right like wildfire through the internet that Michael B. Jordan would be the next Superman if Cavill stepped down, and while none of these rumors were ever officially substantiated by Warner Media or Cavill or even Michael B. Jordan himself, Michael would in fact stoke the flames by saying that if he could get a chance to be Superman, Calvin Ellis would be the one he'd prefer to play. Now, with that being said, there is a Black Superman movie. In truth, there are actually two Black Superman movie and TV series projects in the works, with one of those being produced by J.J. Abrams' company Bad Robot and also being written by famed novelist and comic book writer Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this one is rumored to be about a race-swapped version of Clark Kent, while also there is an HBO Max series that's going to be executive produced by Michael B. Jordan. And the rumor around the campfire is that Michael B. Jordan could either be playing Calvin Ellis or Val Zod. Speaking of Michael B. Jordan, he would be my pick to play a Calvin Ellis in a movie or TV show.
Cut the check.
Need I give the man's resume, but he starred in Marvel's Black Panther as one of the MCU's most compelling villains, Killmonger, and he starred in both Rocky spin-offs, Creed and Creed 2, and is even in the running to be directing and starring in a third Creed film, as well as acting in works like Fruitvale Station, Chronicle, and many other amazing films. As for recommendations, I'm gonna recommend that you check out his first appearance in Final Crisis #7, though this one isn't so much of a necessary thing, but you don't really see a lot of Calvin Ellis in this issue, but it is his first appearance, so I think it's always worth it to check those things out. I'm also gonna recommend that you check out Superman Volume 4, number 14 through 16 to witness Calvin Ellis and Clark Kent working together in close proximity for what I believe is the first time ever. I'm also going to recommend that you check out Multiversity 1 and 2 to witness Calvin Ellis leading Justice Incarnate against the Gentry. I'm also going to recommend you check out Action Comics Volume 2, number 9 to kind of witness a day in the life of Calvin Ellis, watching him go through his checks and balances, doing the things that presidents do while also doing the things that supermen do. Last but not least, I'll also recommend you check out the current series, Justice League Incarnate, which sees Calvin Ellis, of course, leading Justice Incarnate as per usual, but also operating alongside Flashpoint Batman to try and stop the most dangerous threats in the multiverse. I will go ahead and preface, it does get really weird in some points, but if you're willing to embrace the craziness and ridiculousness of comics, as well as very cheeky nods and shots being fired across the bow over at Marvel and Image Comics, and even at themselves sometimes, I think it's worth a read. With that said, I feel like Calvin Ellis is a really awesome version of the Superman character. While I'm not the biggest fan of trying to create new black characters by giving them the mantles of white characters who preceded them, this is one of those instances where I feel like Calvin Ellis differentiates himself enough from Clark Kent that I kind of feel like he's his own character despite being a Superman from another Earth in the DC Comics multiverse. He has a swagger to him that Clark just doesn't have. He has a mindset that Clark doesn't have, and he tends to do things in ways that Clark doesn't. And not even to try and make it sound like Clark Kent is too good to do the things that Calvin Ellis does. It's just that Calvin thinks outside of the box. While Clark Kent has always had this kind of idealism about him, Calvin has that too. They both still have about roughly the same moral code, which is honestly the same moral code that most superheroes in comics have. But Calvin just does things in a way that I think are more interesting than Clark. Not to mention the idea of a guy being a president and being a superhero at the same time. It's not something you see all the time. But anyways, let me know what you thought about President Superman Calvin Ellis. Have you always known about him, or are you today years old finding out about him? Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.